Good afternoon. My name is Kostoulas. I'm a journalist and I have the honor and joy to moderate a very interesting discussion concerning the development of circular economy in our country. The development of a circular economy is a basic priority of the national and European strategy for the transition to a more competitive, resilient economy of low CO2 emissions. In Greece, the field is still riddled with challenges, has great prospects and great opportunities. We have the honor to have with us today the Minister for Environment and Energy, Mr. George Skrekas, as well as an eminent member of the Green Greek entrepreneurship, the Managing Director of TEXAN and Envipco, Mr. Panagiotis Mourgos. If you allow, we start with the Minister. Mr. Minister, many laws were adopted recently in the field of circular economy, waste management, recycling and other sectors. Which are the main sectors of those interventions and what are the measures or steps that you believe that we should follow in the immediate future? Allow me first of all to thank for the honor and invitation, and let me say that we discuss a very interesting subject because it doesn't concern solely our daily lives, but also of our children, grandchildren, and future generations. I mean by that the planet cannot go on consuming at the same pace the wealth resources of this planet, because they are not limitless. They will be depleted eventually. So we have to secure sustainable living conditions for the future generations. Reality is that if we continue consuming this same way, we'll be needing 2 planets by the end of next century so as to cover our needs. So first and foremost, we must change our worldview, our mentality, the way we consume. What does circular economy mean? It means that the waste that may be the produce of a procedure to be the raw material for the next process. In Greece, for instance, we have too many steps ahead that we are to make because 80% of the produced waste is led to sanitary landfills and only 20% is recycled. There are other societies, however, such as the EU average, for instance, where 50% of the waste is being recycled. There are even more progressed states in the field of waste management where 80 or even 90% is being exploited. It's a mere 10%. 10 to 20% that is led to sanitary landfills. So what are we supposed to do? Precisely what we have planned as a government. When we undertook a mandate in 2019, there were only 2 units of PPPs and there were undertended another 2. Today we've got 18 plants of integrated waste management that are currently either built or in due course of a call for tender, and we have made a great progress in that. The other aspect that we have tried to develop and we have laid the foundations has to do with the previous steps before the waste led to integrated processing. And this has to do through the law 4819 that was adopted on circular economy. That is, trying first of all to reduce the production of waste, then proceed in the potential of reusing material which is currently led to the landfill. And after having completed these 2 steps, then at the 3rd step to be able to make a triage at the source and recycle the produced waste. So as for that waste not to be led to the waste management plant or the most so the landfill. Those are the efforts we have made to date. I believe that we have laid sound foundations for all these aspects, especially the issue of the triage at the source and the diversion of recycled materials quite important is the DRS system. What is the system? If you see, we have more than 10,000 stands and points of small sales. Everybody goes around with a small plastic bottle. You see that bottled water is on the rise. Unfortunately, all that is led to the waste bin. Small tins, glass bottles and packaging. So through such a guarantee system where the consumer is to be paid a small fee but will be refunded if the packaging material is placed back to a collection point, will give us the possibility to increase the recycling of our waste from 20% that is currently to 40 and 50%. Because 50% of the waste that we discard includes such kind of packaging, tin, plastic, carton packaging. Such a system will give us quickly the possibility to offer an incentive to the end consumer not to discard the packaging in a waste bin, but have it placed at a specific spot and being refunded of the small fee he has paid originally, and therefore have a good quality recycling material. So there we can have the quality of the retrieved material will be far better than those that end at the processing plant. So this is as far as for the first question. Thank you. Now let us give the floor to Mr. Mourgos. Mr. Mourgos, the Minister has given us the government's approach. Let us hear the market view on the subject. Your honorable Minister, honorable ladies and gentlemen and dear friends, as the group in TEXAN and Envipco, we're extremely glad for enhancing and enriching the works of the 33rd Greek Economic Summit, being the silver sponsors. This is a conference which always has a very significant contribution presenting the status quo but also the perspectives of Greek economy. It is important to point out that today this panel is being honored by the Minister of the Environment and Energy, Mr. Skrekas, who is the person within only 2 years in his chair has solved problems and promoted policies that were stagnated for years. It's very important that businessmen, the business community and society alike follow suit in the evolution of the environment and consider that he is the right person in the right place. Mr. Minister, we have been monitoring. You are also in charge of energy, but you're equally important in your contribution on issues touching upon the environment. We must point out that this government has made very important and aspiring interventions in the field of environment. Now our country has an integrated, full and front-load framework. Not only has it aligned with the European guidelines, but also in the foreground. One of those aspects is this DRS system, the deposit refund system, where the Minister, in cooperation with the Minister for Development, Mr. Georgiadis, have recently co-signed a joint ministerial decision which sets the rules and prerequisites for the operation of the system that will be enforced from the 1st of July of 2023. It is important to have a steady institutional framework within someone who will be able to develop policies, and society, the civic society, social agencies, companies will be able to adapt, to grow and indeed invest back so as to have new green jobs creation and also attract new investments in the field of circular economy as well. Our group has already made an important investment in this field by establishing the first plant in our country of state-of-the-art American recycling machinery, which is being produced in our country, not solely for domestic consumption, but also for exports to many EU countries. I must here point out the important contribution of the USA embassy in our country in this investment. This investment was made in our country within a global competitive environment. So it seems that our country has become an attractive investment country of destination, and investors have our country and their focus as potential investment destination in the field of circular economy as well. So we must have a close cooperation under, of course, the umbrella of the state, with the cooperation of the business community and, of course, this chamber, which is extremely important in attracting foreign investments. I see the president, Mr. Bagatsellos. Nicholas really helps us very strongly so as for Greek businessmen to come in contact and cooperate with American companies so as to have open communication channels. This is most important for our country. It is equally important to note that the new investments are in the pipeline. As far as we're concerned, our group is ready to announce over the next days 2 important American investments in this field, because now we have a steady institutional environment which we can exploit so as to make new investments, create new jobs, and for society to become a really share and embrace the vision of the Greek government for the growth of Greek economy. Our country, instead of being in the tail as it used to be in the recycling, with the new policies introduced now, will be the star and will be the front line. The Ministry for the Environment and Energy has not only introduced the institutional framework, but also have created funding instruments, both at the local level and local administration, so as to promote such incentives. With the new NSRF and the new program period 21-27, it is also has a priority, a pillar on recycling. The Ministry for Environment and Energy has attributed special competencies in the Special Secretariat of Recycling, so as to be the authority that will be monitoring and promoting recycling in our country. So, Mr. Moderator, indeed, the government has made a very important work, and the minister here present is a paradigm on how we can have such a good cooperation, so as have an institutional framework where we can stand as a society and companies in proud, because there is a specific goal, sustainable development, so as to present our country at least as good as it was bequeathed to us, or even better. As Yannis Antetokounmpo said, we are all one team in recycling. There's no one redundant. We have common goals. We must cooperate and have important results, so as to be proud both for us and the next generations. Thank you, Mr. Mourgos. Had an important piece of news that you just announced, 2 new investments in the pipeline. Of course, we would like to have more details, but as you said, it will be officially announced shortly. But it's very optimistic, and I hope that your example will follow. Other companies will follow suit. We know that there's a keen investment interest, both by domestic and foreign players. So with this pre-announcement, we conclude with this session. I warmly thank you for your interventions. Thank you.